Attention, please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Man, I really want to think about that. And I was like, well, we'll have to find out 2 years from now. And then I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
What is, everybody? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need, but deserve, where all level of nerd are welcome, whether you're ready to join our nerdy family or not quite yet.
Yeah.
And today, we're traveling to the Rock of Eternity to talk about the world's mightiest mortal, Shazam. The latest installment in the DCEU. But first, let's introduce our host of the evening or the day of the morning, wherever you're listening to this. My name is Tom.
Ali.
Caitlin.
Corey.
And I'm Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon. If you are new to Patreon, essentially it is a membership service in which you can support your favorite creators like, I don't know, Nerd On. And by supporting them, you get all sorts of goodies like bonus episodes, Discord server, which is hopping all the time. You get to talk to us and other fans, all sorts of other goodies, but you can check that out at nerdon.io/Patreon.
That custom linkage.
Yeah.
I love branded links.
All right.
And with that, it brings us to
Delicious.
our first segment. Since this is a complete form of work, we're going to rate it at the end 1 to 5. But that means we get to
Guess That Grump.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
Man, and then he's back to being a boy again.
All right. And
The superhero movie.
if you are new to the show, Guess That Grump is a segment where at the end we're going to rate our 1 out of 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. And all of us, we're going to give our numbers. And no matter how high the number is, if you're the lowest in the group, you are the grump of the week.
Right.
We encourage everyone at home to play along. Send us who you thought would have been the grump. And also, what's your number at 1 out of 5 of this film,
Yes.
Shazam?
Yep.
And since I explain, I will go first. And I think the grump is going to be Ollie.
Wow. All right.
You looked straight at Caitlin.
Did
the old
threw me off a lot.
Ollie, your guess?
My guess for who will like Shazam the least is going to be...
I'm wearing a
tough.
Batman shirt.
This one's tough because I actually don't really have a pulse on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Caitlin.
Why?
Gotta pick someone.
Because I like picking wrong, apparently.
Joshua?
Yeah, I was going to go for Caitlin as well.
Oh, wow. Caitlin, who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Corey.
Wow. Oh, man. I'm going to go for Josh.
Wow.
So Tom's that way.
Nice fake.
Actually, I want to
Good
go
fake.
for Ollie.
Okay, 2 on Ollie,
Oh,
2
2 on me.
on Caitlin, 1 on Corey.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means Josh
Watch it
and
be Tom.
myself will go first.
Yeah,
at
actually,
home.
I'll take note on those real quick just
Yeah.
so we keep track.
take
Yeah.
a little note.
Just because it's so shocking that Tom's not picked at all.
I know. It's a DC movie, so I'm going to rate it higher anyways.
Yeah.
But with that, it brings us to our complete spoiler of who we think the grump is going to be, to our
Initial reactions.
also known as first impression. With that, whatever you like. Let's talk about it. What do we think when we went to the movie? Josh, go ahead.
Josh, go ahead.
Josh.
I was very excited about this movie from the trailers.
More excited about it than Shazam, Aquaman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Anyway, I saw the trailer for this, and I was excited because I'm a sucker for a comedy. I'm a sucker for a goofy movie. I mean, I liked the goofy movie.
That's crusty.
Yeah. But I'm a sucker. I mean, this is essentially just... I mean, this is the movie Big from the 80s with superheroes.
Tom Hanks, baby.
Even with a fucking piano on the ground.
With a reference to it.
I was
like-
so happy to see
it's
that.
like-
It's good.
Cue the, the sparkle when they go...
Chopsticks. Ding. Dun, 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 dun.
So, and when that started happening, I was like, are they going to do it? Are they
Which
going
is
to?
so
They're
good.
not going to, but
even
wouldn't it be
better.
interesting if they accidentally did, like in
almost
a
did.
It was
fight?
a good nod. It was a really good nod.
It was like wink. But yeah, I walked out of it going, that was fun. It was fun. It was a popcorn flick. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Caitlin?
You should go next.
Okay, I'm going to go next. DC movies, I'm always excited to watch them, and I'm excited to see them come out. Seeing the trailer compared to the other DC films, like there was so much more positive reaction towards this, so it's like, cool. People like the thing that I actually like now. But second,
Wow.
Yay! I'm finally cool.
oh, it's like cool. I'm not the minority anymore.
Guys!
Basilisk. But also like we've never seen Shazam, treated with this amount of production value, and plus like there is a long-lasting history.
product placement.
No, there is a long-lasting history between DC and Fawcett Publications of like this history of Shazam, which we'll talk about probably in a little bit later. But it's just great to give it that full treatment. That it's going to be taken care of in a good way. And plus, David Sandberg, Pony Smasher, I fucking love him. We'll talk about it a little bit more too. So yeah, I was super excited to watch it, and I'm just super glad that like it had it did a lot for what they were going for. I was like, how are they're going to do so much? They did so much in a movie. So
I would like to point out that I think it's dope that he liked your tweet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was like
Celebrity shout out.
Yeah.
Nice.
For me, I was pretty stoked. I am of the camp of I've been, along with I think Warner Brothers, figuring out how I feel about their DC universe. And the last couple films, including Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and now this, have really set a tone that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
And makes me really excited for the future of the DCEU.
Yeah.
I think this hit a lot of good notes. I think it's a step in the right direction for the entire franchise of DC Comics and the movies that they're making. I think Zachary Levi knocked it out of the park. I'm a huge fan of Mark Strong, so I went in with some good baggage already, and he did not disappoint, of course.
It feels like they're making their stride with these, like the recent DC films. Like it's like, okay. They're like figuring out their voice.
Well, I think
and how
it's
to
just
create their own
they're
world.
they're trusting that the characters on their own are strong enough.
Well, and the cool thing too is like you could tell, and every single director has their own tone.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily shake hands with each other, but each director has their own mark, their own message, but it still feels like it's in the same world.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
I
really
think
cool.
I think the supporting cast was phenomenal as well.
Darla.
I mean Darla was great, but the foster parents as well as like Jack Dylan Grazer from It as Freddy was fantastic. So I walked out really happy. I was pumped from the trailers.
Yeah.
But like left even more so.
Good.
Caitlin.
I like the movie.
Of course you do.
I like the Shazam-y.
Well, okay, so I saw the trailers for it, and I think the first time I saw a trailer for it was going in to watch some other movie.
Aquaman probably.
I think so. And my friend who was with me was very skeptical of DC. So they were like, I'm not going to see this. I'm not going to let DC trick me out of my money yet again after Aquaman.
Yeah, that's how you.
They didn't,
open your
they
world
didn't
to
like
new
it.
things.
Well,
After Aquaman?
Yeah, they weren't fond of it, which is fine. To each their own. But I saw this
Sometimes it's fine to
trailer.
be wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
But I saw the trailer and was like, oh, this is so much of my jam. Because it's going to be like all the cool superhero, all that neat stuff. But it's like from the perspective of a kid, which don't know if you guys know, but I kind of approach my life like, I'm a child. Kind of, sort of, yes. So when I saw that, and this also kind of harkens back to a lot of the movies that I watched growing up, which was, I don't know how else to classify this, but like kids on adventures in peril, but actual real world peril.
Which is what David Sandberg wanted to do. He said he wanted to make this like Goonies, Gremlins.
And he did a great job, which I'll
It's
talk about later.
It's got a mix of a couple different of those movies.
Yeah.
I think at different points.
But
which is great.
But
Goonies for sure.
I went in with, as you said, good baggage, and then I came out being like, oh, this was even better than I thought it was going to be. So I was happily pleased with the movie.
Very good. So I went in with pretty, I wouldn't say low expectations, but it was
low.
I had essentially written it off. Like I probably would not have seen it in theaters like on my own volition.
Hence
To
my
be
vote.
completely transparent.
And my vote.
As you know, as Tom knows, they're
Doesn't have Batman.
they're not my it doesn't have Batman, and they're not my favorite flavor of superhero movies.
I think they're the only other flavor, and so you have to pick one.
So there you go.
That's like they're the only ones competing right now.
Yeah. So
There's
I went
no
in,
strawberry. It's just chocolate or vanilla.
But going to the theater, because I saw this with my brother.
Shout out to your brother.
Shout out to my brother. So going into it, I told him, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna have any baggage going in. I'm just gonna go and try to have fun with this movie. And I was really surprised of how good this movie is.
Yay!
Wow. Wait a minute. You dropped your expectations and then went and saw a movie?
Wow, it's not like we've been talking about this for a long time.
No, I've done that before. I did that with Aquaman and still had issues with it.
Fair.
This movie, I think, is how you tell a superhero movie. It's how you tell a relationship movie. It's how you make a film, in my opinion. That's my first impressions, is that like liked the way this film was put together.
Are you
was
saying
pleasantly
you
surprised.
liked the movie?
I liked the movie.
There you go.
To go back to the Twitter that the tweet that David Sandberg said, he said, "I want to make this like Goonies, Ghostbusters, and Gremlins. Only movies with G's."
Yep.
Nice.
He's like,
There it is.
Kazam!
The 3 G's.
Kazam!
I can talk a little bit about the production.
Please do.
If you want to talk about like lore and history.
Well, let's do some brief synopsis first.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Brief synopsis of the film. Spoilers, as you heard before.
Please go watch it first.
We start out with Thad Savannah as a child who gets chosen to go to the Rock of Eternity, where the wizard Shazam says, "Hey, I need a successor because my powers are going away. There's a 7 deadly sins who will be the main antagonist of the film, and they tempt him to get this power eye thing to get the power of the 7 deadly sins. He fails the worthiness test from Shazam, and then forever sets on this mission to find the Rock of Eternity, which is the home of all magic in the DC universe. Now, present day, we follow Billy Batson, who tricks some cops in Aladdin style to find his mother. He's been on a journey to find his mom because he's an orphan, and his trail runs dry. He ends up going back to his foster handler, and he goes into a group home.
His handler.
Yeah, and in the group
Child
home we
services
meet
caseworker.
his foster family, where we'll see Eugene, Freddie, Pedro, Mary, and Darla, but also by 2 loving parents who are also foster parents. He goes to school.
Foster kids.
He goes to school. Freddie tries to befriend him. Freddie's a fanboy of superhero stuff, has a bunch of superhero memorabilia, and then Billy defends Freddie after some bullies that we saw in the trailer. Finds himself in the Rock of Eternity, chosen by Shazam. Right after the events of an older Dr. Savannah, who now has the 7 deadly sins eyeball, and Shazam, the wizard, Jaimin Hansu, has no other choice but to give Billy the powers. He gives him some plot device exposition as well as tips how to defeat the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Hilarity and superpowers ensue. Development.
Ensues.
And Dr. Savannah, as well as Billy as the world's mightiest hero, Shazam, butt heads. They fight. Billy ends up finding out who his real mother is, to a very sad conclusion. And he realizes his true family is the foster family that took him in. And he has to go and save Darla and the rest. And they all ends up at a fight in a carnival, where he learns the true meaning of the 7 thrones, the Rock of Eternity that Shazam wanted to fill with his brothers and sisters. He gets Shazam's staff and then bestows upon his foster families the power of Shazam, and thus giving us the Shazam family, fighting against each...
Shazamly.
I was gonna say that. Jesus. You beat me to it.
Fazamly, giving us a paired up fight between each of the kids with their own 7 deadly sin, to the point where he persuades or manipulates Dr. Savannah manipulates Dr. Savannah to release his last deadly sin.
I would almost say he manipulates the deadly sin.
The deadly sin,
to
greed.
leave Savannah.
To the Achilles heel, the thing that we need to do to beat the bad guy, and he's renowned as a hero, and people of Philadelphia love him. To where we get a very nice but almost perfect cameo of Superman at the very end.
Almost perfect.
Almost perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
It's great.
That was well done, man. That was like a minute and a half.
I'm very powerful at that.
So it was distributed by New Line, Warner Brothers. The director, David Sandberg, or Pony Smasher, as some of you may know, he did the first Rose to Fame with the Lights Out short, which if you haven't checked out and you're not too afraid,
Oh, no,
one of the scariest short films I've ever
know
seen
what
in
it
my
is.
life.
I can't
well
look at
done. I went on to do the feature and Annabelle Creation, which I thought was actually a really fun film. Producer Peter Safran. He first produced Rocketman, Scary Movie. Sean Gunn. What is this?
A TV series
I don't know what that one is.
called PG Porn
Oh,
with James and Sean Gunn.
got it.
Oh.
The Conjuring series, Aquaman, and is slated for Suicide Squad, Annabelle Comes Home, Crooked Man, and The Conjuring 3, which I'm excited for. Pretty much all of those. Like, I don't think there's one on the list that I'm not stoked for. Screenplay was by Henry Gayden. Started out as a miscellaneous crew on Spider-Man 3, which I didn't know about. So, like, do you know exactly what place he was?
Probably an assistant to somebody. Because I'm technically on my IMDb, I'm miscellaneous crew for a movie. So I'm like, on Suicide Squad, I think.
Oh, okay. There you go. And then all he's done is Earth to Echo, and then Shazam. So not much as a screenwriter, but like really good stuff.
But Darren Lemke.
Darren Lemke, on the other hand, Shrek Forever After, Jack the Giant Slayer, Turbo, Goosebumps 1 and 2. So sharing the burden just a little bit.
Yeah.
Shazam was created by Bill Parker and CeCe Beck, cast as Zachary Levi as the titular role. He was in Chuck, Thor 2, Tangled as Flynn Rider, who, shout out to my wife, that's one of her favorite animated films of all time. I heard, is it one of yours as well?
one, yeah.
Besides Frozen. And then we have Mark Strong, who's one of my personal favorites from things like Rock and Rolla, but also Kingsman, Green Lantern, Imitation Game. That's a joke from one of our sketch series, is Imitation Game. Asher Angel as the young Billy Batson, who I thought, for me, perfectly looked like the kid, how I envisioned him in the comics and the animated series. Jack Dylan Grazer from It Chapter 1 and hopefully Chapter 2 a little bit as well, because I think he stole the show. And I also want to give a shout out to Jaimin Hanzu as Shazam, because I'm a fanboy of his. The runtime is 132 minutes, was released April 5th, so we're still in the first weekend of it right now. Budget was $100 million, and it grossed $158.8 million in the first weekend.
Domestic?
Wow.
Yep, doing fine. Domestic only, yeah.
So it's doing okay.
Currently, this is the Sunday after it came out. Critic is 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience is 90.
Wow.
Very even.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
People
right.
like it.
How'd I do, Tom?
You did great.
Thank you. It was my first time doing the production. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.
That's it, as always.
As always, Corey on.
But with that, a small thing. I know Josh has a little bit of a list he has going on as well. But I mean, I think it just serves to talk about. We've talked about horror directors multiple times on this, and how Peter Jackson to Sam Raimi with Spider-Man, and now we're seeing this recent slew of DC directors who are coming in. James Wan, who did the Conjuring series, now David Sandberg, who also did the Conjuring series, Annabelle, coming in to do these things. It's just holds some merit that we should just shout it out that horror directors.
What did you do before? Horror? Cool. Yeah.
It's
Here's my
an
money.
epiphany that happened to me over the last year.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, man, horror directors who are usually so used to working with so little.
Yeah.
And how do I make what looks like $100 million budget movie out of $10 million? How do I do this? And then you give them $100 million and see what they can do, and it's phenomenal.
Another observation that I have kind of in the same line is comedic directors moving to horror, like Jordan Peele. Like there's something that
They know the beats.
can be
Or
translated.
even dramas like who did
Adam
Vice?
McKay.
Adam McKay, who did
Yeah.
Vice from Step Brothers. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
For me, a personal thing is I discovered David Sandberg because of a friend, Scott Nopolis. Shout out to you, boy. Because he showed me the YouTube channel for Pony Smasher, where he created the, again, famous short film Lights Out, where he won a lot of competitions for that, and then it got a feature-length adaptation.
Nice.
Also to merit is shout out to my roommate Rashid, who got to see it on opening night at Universal City Walk with
And?
Zachary Levi and David Sandberg, as well as Asher Angel.
Oh, dang.
And I had him ask some questions. And I asked what was their favorite scene to shoot, and it was the convenience store.
Nice.
Because of the gag where they drink the beer and then they go back in for the junk food. The amount of things that was improvised was only one line in the entire film. Zachary Levi has said that the film, the writing was so good that he only needed to improvise one line, and the line was, "Sorry, you're welcome for not getting robbed." That was the only
for not
line.
getting robbed.
Wow.
And
Read the trailer.
yeah, and David Sandberg said that his experience with going from a horror film to a family film or superhero film actually was rooted in before he got into horror. Before he did his short films on YouTube, he actually did a bunch of family films in Sweden with his wife.
What?
And his wife, who plays the doctor.
The scientist who slams the door and disintegrates.
who
That's his
melts.
wife.
That's
And she's in every film of his.
Aw.
In Lights Out, she's the woman who's turning the lights in and out.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And then in the movie, she's the first person who gets killed.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
And the question I also asked was, when will Zachary Levi and Henry Cavill work together? But we saw that at the end. So
It's the only
don't
thing that
know
would have
yet.
made that perfect if he sat down and it was Henry Cavill. It would have been like, this is the greatest movie of all time.
But yeah, those were all the questions that I had that I think no one else on the internet's really gonna have.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
moving on
Yeah.
to
Well, I wanted to ask you, kind of the comic book person. So this is what I have read is that this is based on the New 52 storyline. Correct. I mean, can you enlighten because I know that it was the original Captain Marvel. Originally, Shazam was Captain Marvel, lots of legal stuff and whatnot. But now in its new iteration, now named Shazam.
But he's still Captain Marvel.
so the comic book has to say Captain Marvel. In the book itself, he can call himself Captain Marvel.
Okay.
It has to say Shazam.
Yeah, because it's a publication kind of.
But his
legal
name is still Captain Marvel as a hero.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But,
Okay.
Because he can't be like, I'm
can't say
Shazam.
Yeah.
But even in right now, as Rebirth is going on,
Yeah.
Jeff Johns is currently writing Shazam, and
Yeah.
he's the guy who's like orchestrating all of Rebirth. But yeah, the whole Shazam family calls themselves the Shazam family. But what's your question? Or what
I guess the question that I had, and maybe I'm completely wrong, which is okay. Was there a time in Shazam's like iteration where the 5 kids became Shazam?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to like.
But it's only in an alternate universe in Flashpoint.
and
Okay, that's what I was remembering it from when we
read it.
We did an episode.
read
Check
it,
back
yeah.
to that.
pause this episode. Go there.
I remember them going
It's like
Shazam
5
and
kids
they
and a
all turned
tiger
into,
all turned into Shazam. Yeah.
And the
So that only happened once for that?
that was
in
only in an alternate timeline.
Where
interesting.
where the DC proper is like many kids turn to many versions of Shazam.
Yeah.
And in the Flashpoint, it's many kids turn to one person called Captain Thunder. Because what's
Well, I was gonna say my mind was blown during that scene when it happened because I didn't know that. I thought it was one man named Shazam, and then the alternative reality was the Flashpoint thing where 7 people became one. But I
Yeah.
didn't know there was a version where
There's 5.
There's like 5 different Shazams.
So also some factoids of comic books. When it was still Fawcett Publications, not bought by DC or not owned by DC yet, Billy Batson is a common name apparently, and it wasn't him who got the power. It was everyone that was named Billy Batson. And so there was
Oh.
Fat Billy, there was Tall Billy, and there was Hillbilly. There
Yeah.
was Shazam.
This is real.
Yeah, and those were called the Marvel Lieutenants, and it was dumb
What?
and bad and weird. But
It sounds like
then they
You
later
say
on.
bad and weird, and I say awesome.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea. It's like one's called Fat Billy. I was like, I mean,
And Hillbilly.
Hillbilly. I kind of
Wow.
think that's a little funny. But anyways, and in the comic books as well, a little bit of change. Mary is actually his long lost sister.
Yeah.
In other iterations, like his twin sister. His twin sister, who's like a billionaire, and she
Oh.
finds that out and changes her name.
What I thought was more fascinating was why he was created as a hero and why he's a kid that turns into an adult. And I actually just learned this from Tom. Well, not just, but I learned it from Tom. The reason it was made is it was at a time when the only kids in comics were the sidekicks, were the Robins, the Aqualads.
Well, it's
or
like the
whoever.
friends of the superheroes, so like
Right.
Robin and then Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was it. So, but the majority of the people who are buying the comics are technically quote unquote kids. And so what they did is they published, why don't we make a superhero that kids can identify with? Not the sidekick, not the person on the side going, you got him, good job, holy rusted metal, Batman. Let's give him an actual hero to believe in. And so that's why in the movie it's so iconic that the kid drops the Batman and Superman toy. It's like a nod to this is the hero that was created for kids.
Yeah.
And it's also a cool thing where they bring up a lot of Superman in this, and it's kind of showing that DC is burying the hatchet because it was like a lawsuit
Yeah.
that like the judge
That
ruled
went on for years.
Yeah, the judge ruled like you didn't steal the character Superman, but you stole all his powers, so you might as
and
well.
what if you missed it within there, the audience, what Tom's talking about is this wasn't originally DC.
No.
It was a
Fawcett
different
Publications.
Fawcett Publication came up with a hero. DC sued them, and then the judge said, "Well, it's not Superman. You did steal all of his powers." And then DC bought him
I
out.
would love to be that judge.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd be like,
and the thing is, like,
actually,
it was like an 8. It was like it was,
power charts behind you of like
my
who's
God.
more powerful than the other.
Hey man,
it was like years of in the lawsuit, and it just pretty much like bankrupted Fawcett. So they just like their
Whoa.
patent died, and then DC bought them, and then that like
Was it-
copyright lapsed, and then Marvel made Captain Marvel.
Wow.
a lot of shit happened.
But then also like before that, they were almost going to call him Captain Thunder,
Uh-huh.
and they changed it to Captain Marvelous, and then they changed that to Captain Marvel because it wouldn't fit on the thing.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
Captain Marvel.
So I'd like to go into a related tangent.
Yes.
And they are all the nicknames of Shazam.
Please.
But the first one that is my favorite, and it's a purposeful nod to Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And it is Captain Sparklefingers because Carol Danvers makes a joke in the comics. It goes Captain Sparklefists, and so it's a wink to that.
Yep.
So
Wow.
it's
Your
a
phone's
slight-
charged.
Yeah.
And your phone's charged.
lightning from my hands. Okay.
Dun, dun.
We've got Thundercrack,
Sounds like a butt thing.
Mr.
does.
Philadelphia,
It's a cream cheese thing.
Zapton America,
That's a YouTube thing.
Cyclone,
Cyclone.
Power Boy, Maximum Voltage, Sir Zapsalot, and Human Power Storm.
Max for short.
Call me Max.
Yeah.
I like Red Cyclone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Thundercrack.
Of course you do.
You would.
So bad.
You would.
Favorite parts?
Yeah, that brings us to favorite parts.
It means I get to open my little black book of notes.
Wow. Look at all those notes inside.
Of course, the beer, please, because the way he delivers that line.
Your finest
I'll have
beer.
your
Your finest beer,
beer.
please. you know me, Tom. Dark humor is my thing. So when the kid's making like the cancer jokes and the being pushed off the roof, and then he goes, "I know what you're thinking, crippled foster kid. You have everything." I laughed harder at that than most jokes in the movie, just because first of all, his delivery of that line is fantastic.
He's a great actor.
Also, don't say anything weird. Okay, one weird thing. Did you know that? Did you see Romans?
The Romans.
The Romans used to brush their teeth with urine, so apparently that works. Was
And the mom's like, what?
amazing.
Walks away.
I loved. I mean, it's easy humor, but it's my kind of humor. Is when Dr. Zavanna is monologuing in the air, and they're like so far away,
They're so
and
far-
he's
it's like we're like a mile apart.
No, you're shaking at my favorite part.
No, I
'cause
know.
it's
It
obviously
just
a qualm.
didn't hit it for me.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all.
it hit it for me. I thought it was
Same.
fun.
Same, very much.
Because it was just his reaction, and then you could hear the muffled.
Yeah.
I-
The sound design was really good on that.
Can't. So, but
Yeah.
No, it makes fun of the trope. It's
Yeah.
like, are you monologuing right now?
yeah.
And yeah,
Different approach to it.
Yeah, is that
Incredibles.
That's Incredibles? Yeah, like Incredibles did the same things. Like, he's monologuing. We could do something.
You almost got like he tricks him into monologuing is the thing.
Yeah, that's what
My absolute favorite part though was the office scene.
Yeah.
When he first shows up to his dad's office.
Oh my God.
Because you immediately know when he throws his brother out the window, you're like, oh,
He means business.
he's not fucking around. Like he's not one of those villains that's just gonna like hold someone over a cliff and be like, come and get them. He's just gonna be like, I dropped him off a cliff. Like that's what I'm gonna do. I'm done. Now it's done.
There was no like talking about it. It was just like,
Nope, it was just 1, 2 out the window,
Ask if
100 stories up, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Ask
Okay.
if you're man enough to take me out of this building.
Yeah.
About that scene, David Sandberg said that he wanted to create a scene or something, a precedent that Dr. Zavanna's not someone to be trifled with.
Yeah.
And he's like, we got to show how scary it is, how scary the 7 Deadly Sins should be. And then he asked Warner Brothers, like, hey, I know this is going to be a PG-13 movie. Can I, do some of my horror stuff with it? And Warner Brothers said, dude, do whatever you got to do.
Wow.
One of the sins bites someone's head off.
Yeah.
And throws it out of the building.
Yeah.
Wasteful.
So, and it was just, for some reason, like, Mark Strong in that scene is phenomenal.
I mean, he was phenomenal
phenomenal in the
throughout the
whole
whole
thing.
film.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I
he
just mean,
never-
especially like that scene for me
specifically like
told me where he was going to be at for the film.
Yeah.
I was like, I am on board for this 100%.
Here for it.
I also want to shout out Darla because she's the most precious thing in the entire world.
Oh my God, I know.
you guys figured it out.
Oh, on your own.
sister.
I'd have to say is when we see the Shazam family for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
it's pretty
Yeah.
because like the entire time when I saw Mary, and Mary's always been like she's like the mother of the gang. Obviously like in the Goonies, or there's always the adult one.
Yeah.
Who takes care of everybody. Maybe not the leader, but the one just takes care of everybody. So I started, I was like, oh, it's Mary.
Yeah.
Anything. And the entire time I was just like, man, there's 7 Deadly Sins. I wish the Shazam family here, they could each take one themselves.
Maybe next movie.
And I was like, it'll be happening next movie. And I was thinking, I wonder who they're going to cast. Man, I really want to think about that. And I was like, well, we'll have to find out 2 years from now. And then I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And they did it. And I was like, oh, my pants are so white right now. And the floor got so sticky. And then everyone's like, oh my God, what's going on?
He wore white pants and spilled his
I
soda.
sat in the back row of this theater when I did it, and like everyone was just like, "Why is it sprinkling?" But
Oh,
That was also one of my favorite parts.
Welcome,
though.
family.
it was.
Sprinkling?
I was just not expecting because I was like, "Man, I really want this to happen," and then like it happened. I was like, "Wow, they're really
While
good."
the movie was going, I was like, I only had the reference of Flashpoint. I didn't know that there was the Shazam family, and so the reference, I was like, okay, Shazamly.
Shazam.
Shazam.
Please
Fazamly.
correct me.
That was mine.
Please,
That was
because
hers.
we need to
Fazam.
get it on.
I'm
Shazamly.
I'm just trying to
Make it
keep
a
it
thing.
alive. I'm not trying to steal your thunder. Just trying to keep it alive.
Your
Thank
thunder
you.
crack.
Exactly.
So as the movie was going, I was like, and they were getting towards the climax, I was like, is this gonna happen? Are they all gonna like suck into him and he's gonna become even more powerful? Oh my God, there's more of them?
Yeah.
My wife lost her goddamn mind.
Her jar was a jar. Her
My
jaw was a
wife,
jar.
Since we were in high school together, she has been obsessed with Adam Brody, who played Seth Cohen on the OC and played adult Freddy in this film. So
Perfect casting for that too.
when he shows up, she freaked the fuck out.
Have you guys seen The Ring? The jaw out mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that
how
was
she-
her.
she
That
would
was
be.
her. So
Wow.
shout out to that moment because Tom knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't say anything and then tapped her on the shoulder and was like, check this out. Boom, they change. And I've never seen someone squirm that much in a movie theater chair in my entire life. She freaked. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to handle it. So
That's awesome.
good casting on their part.
For me, it was more of this like inkling, like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
And I pinpoint it. I've not had a moment like that since Dark Knight when they do Two-Face. And it was kind of
Whoa.
like, man, I think he'll do the next movie as Two-Face. Oh no, they're doing the whole. Okay, he's in the movie. And I was like,
Two-Face is
holy
here.
shit, the movie. I thought the movie was over. The movie's not over.
6 whole minutes, Two-Face.
We're going in, and I was like, okay. It was like, okay, cool. They caught Joker. Now we're going to figure out. Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
Oh,
But wait, there's more.
it was so good. So good.
That wait.
That was also my favorite part of the movie. Was because it was just so unexpected, and I was already having so much fun with the movie that I was like, what else can they do to make this even better? Because I was worried a little bit about the third act going into it, but I think the carnival setting helped really a lot, and then like the kids kind of being involved helped a lot. But I would never have imagined that they would have done what they did, and I really enjoyed watching them.
Yeah.
Like each of them getting one of the powers. It was really fun. Like the what's the little girl? Darla. Watching her like running
Zip
around
Figuring it out.
the Ferris wheel, like running across the Ferris wheel to save people. Like that was really cool.
So yeah, Darla's supposed to be more fast than most of them. Pedro's supposed to be stronger than most of them, and then Mary.
Well, don't they each have one of the powers?
They all have all the powers. They could both they got all lightning.
They're
they got
just more. They lean more towards one.
Or like Shazam himself is like all of them. Where
Got it.
he's the best
the
at all
Avatar.
of them.
Got it.
While Eugene Hadouken.
I know.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was
What's another
so
one of my favorite?
good.
And he said it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and at the end, he was like, fatality. I can do that
Fatality.
now.
Look at his voice.
Also, I don't like montage mainly, but they did I love their
learning
their
the
bohemian
abilities,
their
or-
queen montage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Why don't I
wow.
know
It was, I don't know, I loved
They're
it.
doing the tests.
Yeah.
It's Queen.
Mr. Is it?
Oh yeah.
what song?
No, I was thinking the
Having a
same thing.
good
I just
time.
misunderstood what you were
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved that part. That was probably one of my
So
favorite
good.
parts of
It was
learning
so
how
good.
to do things.
Which is like sometimes the best parts of like a superhero movie is when they figure like they don't just like I have the powers and I'm fucking great at it. It's like no,
The best
here's
part of this
you're learning
was
how to do it.
that he was 14 and they
Just don't put a
did it the way
skateboard in it, right?
They did it the way 14-year-olds would do it, like be irresponsible, try to light
go to
each
a
other on
strip
fire,
club.
go to a strip club.
Yeah.
Steal
First thing I thought
sodas.
about. Yeah.
That was also great. That
licorice.
like they when he's like trying to get them out of that situation in the cave.
Yeah.
The first place they go to is a gentleman's club because it was the only thing he could think of.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's 15, whatever.
I want to give one last little. There's a little bug there. There it is.
There's always a bug on my script. It's this big and it's the same one every time.
The last
Sorry,
thing
bug.
I want to give a shout out to is the parents.
Yeah.
I think they were. Somehow these actors nailed it from the moment they got in the van to be the most endearing people in the
Yeah.
entire world.
That was
I had the hots for the mom
the
Oh,
for sure.
No sodas
I
past
agree.
dark. When
she's
did
bae
it
for
get
days.
dark?
But also she's super loving. You know?
Dude, that guy. When I was saw that guy, I was like, way to lock it down.
Yeah, right.
Good job.
But no, at the end when they're doing all hands on deck for the Christmas dinner, by the way, fucking Christmas movie.
It is a
and
Christmas
she has
movie.
she has the glassy eye.
Got
It's
me.
like
the dad. He's a big part in The Walking Dead, the series.
oh, is he? Okay.
And it was
He's
like,
great.
always
Is he
like
that good in it?
Yeah, he's a lovable character in
Yeah.
that as well. But it's for me like because actors are people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes?
So when I see a movie like this and I see him like in this, I'm like, good for you, dude.
Yeah.
That is awesome. You're in this
Yeah.
big movie. Like
I get that.
I want to meet him.
That's
like
how I
he
feel
just
when I
sounds
saw
sweet.
Thomas Middleditch in the Godzilla trailer. I was like, my boy, you're doing it. You're
doing
got
it.
so
You got a
happy
career.
for you.
The family is definitely one of my favorite, or specifically the parents is one of
dynamic.
my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Is their dynamic, like, and him. I feel bad not knowing his name, the actor's name that played
go
the
on.
father, but I think he did
Cooper
he
Andrews.
knocked it out of the park. He was like an awesome like foster dad, but then he was like, because like when
Say that you're a foster
Billy
kid, Bob.
came home and he was like be easy on him, I thought it was gonna go like he wasn't gonna scold him. I thought he wasn't gonna. I thought he was gonna be like
But he
jokey
did.
about it. But I was really happy that he was like an upset parent. So like he's a really good father.
You run away, you get into fights.
And then he's a really good husband, supporting like giving emotional support to his wife, who all they're trying to do is build like this
We could only make a
loving
place.
home. Yeah. So like that broke my heart, and it was like really awesome to watch them. I loved every little bit of the parents. I also really the turning point for me, honestly, for this movie was the resolution of him and his mother. Like to me,
that
made it.
That was
The
devastating.
tears.
That
She
made
said,
it.
"What's this?" to the compass. I was like, "You bitch, you." Bitch.
I mean, like I'm stepping back. I'm stepping way back to like looking at the DCEU. Like to me, that was one of the most genuine things I've seen come out of DC film in a very long time. And like not genuine, but like real life, grounded. I mean, it's already in Philadelphia, which is a change, which is a nice change from like Gotham City, whatever fantasy.
That's where he actually is in the
Same
real.
city
Which is
as the
great.
garbage picking,
That
field goal
helps.
kicking Philadelphia phenomenon.
That helps because it
sound.
grounds it. It grounds it into a real place with real stakes.
Yeah.
And you have real people
Well,
with
and-
real life things that happen.
A little tidbit that I noticed is when she opened the door all the way, you could see the same jacket
Yeah.
that she wore, which to me signaled like the moment she decided to run away
She hung
from
the hang-
everything. She like
Hung it up.
that moment in time is now her forever.
Yeah.
Because
She
until
hasn't
she
grown
lets
up
it
past
go.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And then her not knowing what the compass was, like that was like
Terrible.
And the funny thing is, like, I just want to go talk a little bit about superhero films, and I think, and I talked about it. We talked about it before about directors, and the difference between these directors as well as like just compared to the Marvel directors. Most of the Marvel directors are like film festival directors.
Yeah.
And then all these ones are like pretty established directors. And so the cool thing that you kind of see just, again, these 3 standalone films is that they all have like their own singular message that they're saying through the superhero.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just different. It's not better, it's not worse, but like the Marvel films kind of have to, I'm going to quote Patrick Willems, who has a great video essays about it, but it's like all the Marvel films have to be a payoff for the last film and have to be a setup for the next one. But with these films, the great thing about them is that the director gets to say a message because of the hero, and it's not they have to lead up to something else.
Yeah.
And it allows them to be more streamlined. So it's just an interesting take, and that's why like this one there is a lot of like what is a family, and like it's grounded in it's a family film. It's Christmas. It's about how try to find like what's your definition of that. And it's
well, the beauty of that is that they're still building the that still builds the universe. It does like Superman doesn't have to come in and lend a hand to beat the big bad. Like just having the batarang, having the bullet, having him at the end. Yeah. I mean, that would be sick if they handled it right, but you could argue that they haven't been able to mass audiences or to mass opinion. But
broad appeal.
Yeah, right, broad appeal. But yeah, this is different.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other favorite parts?
I have one last favorite parts, and it's kind of throughout the movie. Is every time Shazam / Billy Batson realizes a new power.
Oh yeah.
Or
yeah.
when he's like his face, like he does this like flying.
He nails playing 15 by the way.
Oh my god. So
yeah.
much.
Corey really liked the dynamic between Freddie and Zachary.
Yeah, Zachary Levi and Jack Dylan Grazer had a phenomenal chemistry together.
Yeah.
Like, I have no doubt that they had fun. Like, I know they didn't have to improvise, but I bet they did in rehearsal, found this. They have this wonderful rhythm that was better than even Asher Angel and Jack Dylan Grazer had together, even though they're the same age.
I agree with that.
I imagine it'd be close to like our Billy West episode where it's like their best warm-ups are probably just riffing off each other.
Yeah.
And it's like that where they just kind of get the good
Like
playful
when
mindset.
they're talking back and forth, and the real estate agent is just listening to them go, like probably like a seaside
amazing.
cliff, and Jack's like, yeah, like a cliff, maybe looking over some water. Yeah, like
some
water
water,
would be
yeah.
great, or a volcano,
Yeah.
a layer. And of course, if we could do this all under the table, that'd be great. Like their chemistry was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Super good.
Um,
I did
go ahead.
2 little things that stuck out to me for probably just because it's me is when he's following Billy out of the cafeteria and he's like trying to catch up with him. He throws the entire
Entire tray,
tray
yeah.
with all of the food.
Did you notice when
into
he
the
sits
trash
down
can.
too, he
Just
throws
chucks.
his crutch behind him?
Yes.
Doesn't give it right in the
Just
middle of the
friggin'
walkway.
Nothing can get in his way at all. And I loved that so much.
It's such a good detail.
Yeah.
Every little bit was there for
I also
for
love that he
him.
just like immediately starts floating as soon as he gets
Oh,
his
yeah.
powers.
Oh
he
yeah,
starts
yeah,
flying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And it's
'cause-
an interesting, like I haven't given it too much thought yet, but like I know there's maybe you guys have had a chance to think about it, but the significance of him asking, would you rather have flight or invisibility?
Oh.
And then the first thing is him being
Flying.
Able to
is
fly.
flying.
Well,
and,
because
and like his
quote unquote, he's been
kicks in his
invisible his
power.
whole life. No one's really seen him.
But also, it's kind of like to
crippled foster
Savannah's
kid,
point.
yeah.
Savannah wants all the power, but it's like there's no point in the power if you can't share it. But also, it's kind of like you choose invisibility. Also, it's more of a, they say it's like it's a villain thing. But then
Yeah.
it's like flying is the hero thing. And then the first thing he does is fly. And so like he can be a hero. And like it compounds with, it's like, you just wish this powers were for you. He's like, of course I do.
Yeah.
And it's
I believe the quote is "no shit."
no shit.
Yeah. No shit.
What was your second thing?
My second thing, and this is totally just me in the tiniest detail that doesn't matter, but when he's
does-
finally
you gotta say
facing, oh my God, Thad,
Yeah.
Savannah.
Dr.
like
Savani.
after the bus and everything, he's like the most perfect creation being in existence, and the first thing it does is like show Thad being in front and then like the back of the head view of Shazam, and there's like one mole right there on his neck, and I was like, the most perfect being in all of the universe has a mole on the back of his neck.
Perfect. You can't have a mole?
Well, then
not
that
perfect?
opened the question to like, does having a mole make you more perfect or less perfect?
Sorry, excuse me.
Apparently more.
It's called a beauty mark.
Yeah.
Right,
Mole on my face.
But I always thought the beauty mark was supposed to be on your face. This, like I said, this is like the silliest thing to have noticed. But I literally laughed out loud in the theater, and no one else did.
That was a detail only for you.
Yeah, thank you for that, movie
it in just
making
for you.
people.
Zachary Levi grew that for you his whole life.
Two things I want to mention just before we move to the next thing is anytime we saw all the 7 deadly sins together.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
Freaking dope. And then
I thought Lust would be a lot hotter.
yeah. And then the into the Spider-Verse jump.
Yeah.
Where he jumps off the building and says
Oh,
Shazam. We
that
saw
was
it in the
cool.
trailer,
So
but now that you
good.
know what's compounded behind
Context.
it,
What
you're
the
like,
scene before
yeah, and he
was.
says, "I'm sorry, I have to go see my real family." I'm like, "Ah, he knows."
He gets it.
That's
It was so good.
Quim-quams.
Quick
No, favorite characters.
The bravery to just also the bravery to jump off as the little kid.
I guess we could do side characters because it's Shazam.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, she's
So side
So
character.
everyone counts except Shazam.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Freddy, Savannah, all of them, even though they're
Okay.
calling them same main.
All right. I'll say Freddy.
Savannah.
we can't pick Shazam.
No, this is side character.
I mean Billy.
Young Billy? Billy Batson, you can. Just
His
not.
alter ego.
They do refer to as an alter ego, so yeah, I guess Billy would be on the table then.
Are you
I
waiting
would-
for my answer?
yeah, we are.
Oh, move on for me.
Okay.
answer.
I'd say
Mine's Savannah. He's just like, what a good villain. And he looked so cool.
And Mark Strong nails it.
Fucking Mark Strong, dude.
I have to say Darla.
I was gonna say Darla. Like
Yeah.
Darla's so precious,
But-
too precious.
Well, but I really liked the adult Darla.
Making
Yeah.
good.
Like the way she did a really good job.
Embracing
child.
Like her with Santa being
been
like,
real good.
I've been really
My name's
good.
Darla.
Like her super innocent like portrayal of that, I think is like, oh my god.
I gotta give a shout out to Adam Brody though.
I was like, I gotta give a shout out to Santa.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Santa stole the show
The
for a
cussing
bit
at
of
the end.
that.
The
Yeah.
fucking blood everywhere.
I think I wanted to go to Pedro.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants his goal to get swole.
When he holds up the Ferris wheel, he's like, I got this. I do got
God,
this.
I got this.
Yeah, favorite parts. Favorite character. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Quim-quams.
Now you go to your qualms.
Give me
My
qualms.
qualms.
You want to jump to it?
Yep.
I'll start.
You start.
For me, it was the monologue scene took me out of the movie.
Oh.
Like that was because I had seen it done before in things like Incredibles, which is an entire satire of film, and I'm pretty sure there's another one it was done in where either about monologuing or he's like, oh, now you're gonna like talk for a little while, or you're
Part
gonna
of
give
me
me this
feels like I've
choice.
seen this bit before, but it could just be a weird
That's
deja
what I
vu
felt,
thing.
and that took me
Yeah.
out of it, and I
can't
felt
remember
like
where it's from, though.
I felt like it went on too long.
Like
I can
one
see that.
reverse.
Like one
They could have
back
taken-
reverse.
Yeah.
It took me a
for
second to realize that was happening, that was the joke. I was like, oh, they can't hear each other. Okay.
And then for me, my wife brought this up the night of, and the more I thought about it, the more I agreed with her that I think Zachary Levi plays a great 15-year-old, but they don't show the really fun, jubilant, funny side of Billy Batson as a kid.
Yeah.
So to me,
He's more
there's
of an
Billy
asshole when
Batson,
he's
and then
Billy
there's
Batson.
Zach Levi playing a kid, but there's
Yeah.
no connection. So my example was like the movie Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks met with the kid and took on some of his qualities.
Instead of the kid having to take on his.
Yeah, so that when he grew up, it was a lot better. Or even Big, he did
It
the
was
same thing,
closer
right?
matched
Yeah.
to behavior.
They
and
had
stuff.
certain qualities, certain speech patterns, stuff like that. And it doesn't make it any less enjoyable. It's just something that took away from me. Is like, I didn't see them as the same person. I saw them as like Billy Batson and Shazam, not this kid who got superpowers and looks
Yeah.
older.
He's very angsty when it's Billy Batson.
Yeah.
And then there is a childlike quality to Shazam where he is going, oh man.
Yeah, like I didn't
wow.
get any of the banter between that like Freddy and Shazam have when they're older
Yeah.
or when
Yeah.
he's older. When he's younger, he kind of doesn't really say anything.
He's more grounded.
Yeah.
To that point, I do a thing where I read the Rotten reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's actually like a lot of basis for a lot of people's arguments is that like it's weird because some people are like Zachary Levi is not good and Asher Angel's amazing, or the opposite where Asher Angel's garbage and Zachary Levi is amazing because of the disconnect of those two things.
And I don't think it has to do with either of them.
No,
I think
it's
a lot
not.
of it's the writing.
Yeah.
Like they didn't write young Billy Batson to be that funny. The only moment
Is
that
in the
he has is
beginning.
really funny is in the beginning with the cops,
And he beats up
or
the boys.
when Jaimin says, "Grab onto my staff," and he goes, "Gross." Like I wanted more of those
Yeah.
throughout leading
Yeah.
into this. I think that's about it.
To find the jovial side
Yeah,
of him.
but like those are my only qualms.
Wow.
For me, CGI here and there. But I mean, it's more like
I brought that up, but like
I'm
That
not.
was my only.
Yeah.
That was one of my biggest, but that's a relative term.
Yeah, and I mean,
Qualms.
for me, it's kind of like with CGI. It's kind of like, I mean, it's people flying around shooting lightning. So how real can I get?
yeah.
I had an
And-
issue with how the bus looked too. Sometimes, like for most of it.
With that, but then, this is the nerd side of me. It's like, again, this is a different story, and I'm not, and things don't look at with this lens. But like Billy Batson, like, who's like technically, again, he's like a Clark Kent, so he's like kind of like part of this news station thing, and he has like this ham radio and all that stuff. And we don't see any of that. Maybe we'll see that in the next one. But they really did take a lot from the New 52, and I think again they're just trying to tell a good story about family and being an orphan and da da da. But it was kind of like I wish they had certain things in it, and it's not like it's a qualm. It's more like I know enough where it's like I see the references, and I wish I can see more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really the weird thing about it. It's kind of like this feels so good, but I want this to be a 4-hour movie with everything in it.
Fair.
And it's not a
That's
bad.
fair.
It's not a bad thing, but it's more like it affects me, and that's why like. Speaking out for all the fanboys who have man tears and shit, get over it. But
I'm
also,
right here.
but yeah, it's kind of like I want to make sure I'm watching the movie the right way and just like absorb what I have and have a good story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just a CGI for the main part. But
same.
Also-
but the thing is, it doesn't. CGI doesn't bug me that much.
No, yeah.
I don't
And-
know why. It's not like something that.
yeah.
there was one lighting thing that not irritated, but I just noticed, and those are like technical goofs. But it's like when Freddy touches the light for the first time, you see the light under Zachary Levi's face, and then every other cut where he's not touching the light, it's different. The logic leap that I have to make with that is that when someone touches it, it just illuminates a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, I don't need an explanation for it, but it's like I noticed that.
I have two qualms. One of them is what Corey brought up, the personality shifts, and another is kind of a technical thing. And it's just something that I was like, that was a choice. So there are exterior shots of the school, and you can tell that they just used the same shot because everybody was wearing the same thing.
Same.
Doing
You
the
saw the
same
same
thing.
the Superman backpack.
The Superman backpack, they hug. It was the same exact shot. And I was
Wow.
like, really?
For different days.
For different days.
Yeah.
It was different times.
And
It
all they
was-
would do is it's a drone or a crane shot, and it goes this way towards the school, and they cut to whatever's happening here.
Yeah. And they used the same shot. And I was like, does it take me out of the movie? Absolutely not. But it was one of those things that I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So, tiny thing.
It's like the same running animation of stuff.
My qualm early on in the movie was with the 7 Deadly Sins in the sense that I wish I kind of wanted to get a better distinction of which one was which.
Oh, which one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
And
kind of
The
confusing.
only one you could really tell was like gluttony,
Yeah, that was
the
the
big boy-
only
and then
obvious
envy
one.
because he's the smallest.
And then
one.
envy, which I kind of forgot about for most of it because he was trapped inside.
Well, he just didn't let him
And
out.
then he was
Or-
named
right.
later
He
on.
didn't
It's like,
come out.
okay, that one is that. Yeah, I get it.
So I would have loved I think they could have taken the opportunity to have more elaborate designs for them to kind of maybe
They're
tell them apart
Or
a
what
little
about
bit.
like one scene where
a scene where
Mark Strong is
you-
talking to all of them and he literally goes down a line.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I thought they were very unique.
With a combined
each.
power of envy, gluttony, and it
couldn't
could
tell.
show each one.
They were
for a
unique, but I
second.
didn't. There wasn't enough to be like, oh, that's obviously.
well,
lust.
and like from my perspective, their colors were all
Grayish
gray.
green.
exactly the same. on
That's
each
where I
of
was hoping
them.
would be a little different.
Yeah, because like the
And
one
in the
that
comics,
has,
there are red and green and blue.
Yeah.
right. So like the one that has the vines could have been like more green and brown or something. It's
Earthy.
got the earthy.
Yeah.
like
kind of
they-
blended together.
Yeah, they blended so
Scary
much
as
that.
shit.
Oh yeah, terrifying. But like I just
'Cause
couldn't tell very
I've
easily.
I've seen movies where they're not done by an action director. They're not done.
Marvel films.
Okay. But actually not Marvel films because that doesn't really fit because Marvel is like 100% CG. But I'm talking about like movies that are given to these directors that have a like they do a really good job with the character development, with the story, with the relationships of the people, but then they're not like action directors necessarily.
They don't know how to do that stuff.
So like that stuff kind of I'm not saying that's what this movie is, but I'm saying like I've seen movies where that has happened, where like the action goes to the back, takes a back seat, and so everything's just a CGI mess. And this kind of treaded into that a little bit.
It's like Transformers.
Yeah, it's like Transformers.
I don't actually know what's going on.
Right. And I'm kind of over that stuff. So then this kind of treaded a little bit into that, but not enough to where
I
it
will
ruined
say
any
though,
kind of
the
enjoyment.
fighting in the air was something I've wanted to see for a while.
Yeah.
The closest thing we got to it was Man of Steel.
And even then that wasn't exactly what I was.
And overall,
this did something to that. Either the way they shot it or whatever it was when they were flying and fighting in the air, I was like, this is what I picture when I read the comics.
Yeah. So they did a good job realizing everything for sure. I would have loved to see a bit more Shazam action. Like maybe in the second act somewhere to where like because he saves the bus, but I would have loved some kind of like sequence where he uses his powers more.
I think that's
so
what you
a
get
better
the
grasp.
training montage for. That's
Talking
all.
about like in Spider-Man when he first gets his powers and there's like, oh, suddenly there's people who are tied up everywhere and like look at him saving the city.
Where it's like him saving the day and he looks at the fucking camera
Yeah,
and then
but
there's
I
a little more
understand
of him just like using his power before he was confronted with a villain.
Right.
Yeah.
Or something
other than AC/DC.
Yeah.
Right. Or I mean, it could have still been a fight with him, but maybe he thinks maybe he was too cocky or something, so he dishes out all the power just to give a little more action. But
I would say definitely the next film probably should
next
start with him
film-
being Shazam as a hero and all that
yeah,
stuff.
because I know the reason we don't get a lot of that is because the whole point of this movie is that you're stronger with your family, so they kind of have to.
And also
incorporate
he
that
has
a
to
little
learn
bit.
how to be a hero.
And so he has to be like a coward to then rise to the occasion.
And he's got to learn a little more because he's a kid.
And he says that line, which I love, where he's like, if I can't save my family, I'm not much of a hero. And then he says Shazam, and it's like, it makes so good. It looks, like, to that point, yeah, if they just colored the fucking Seven Deadly Sins. Secondly, I had just an issue with the Superman cameo.
Yeah,
Just
an
because
issue
they
with it?
cut him off at the head. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's just the wrong thing to do. Not because
Don't
like
do
you're
it
not
then.
showing me him, but also just like film language. You're not supposed to show people.
Although I kind of felt like it was going to happen ever since that.
Well, he said it.
The guy said dessert.
Superman's
with,
gonna get you
dessert with Superman. I was like, they're not going to do that, are they?
To me, I was like, I'm here for
He's not
it.
gonna
I'm
come
here
with
for
like a
it. I'm
cake.
here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here
If
for
they
it.
would have just shown it from behind with the cape, that would have been better than cutting him off here.
And then do like a reverse.
Like over the shoulder and then
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Because they had
being
to like show his
whoosh.
symbol, but they can't show his head, so it's like they have to cut it right at
Yeah.
the neckline kind of thing.
They could have just showed the cape. Like I
Yeah.
think that would have done.
Any other qualms?
Caitlin.
My only qualm and
is the mole.
No, actually, I like the mole. I thought it was
Keep
funny.
the mole.
the
You
mole.
heard it here
I
first,
like the
Zachary
mole.
Levi. Keep your mole.
I like your mole. You should
But get it
keep
checked for melanoma.
Yeah, that also. I thought the beginning was a little, personally, too fast paced.
The
Which
which beginning?
with like
Thad?
Billy Batson and his
Oh, okay.
life.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little too fast. It was like the fun. I'm stealing a cop sandwich and
Aladdin.
like doing mischievous stuff. But then that was kind of like the main thing that happened, and then it kind of ended to him going to the foster family, and that just felt like way too quick for me.
For me, it felt.
I loved it.
I did. I get what you're saying. They could have let it breathe a second more, but for me, it felt very like Goonies, like any '90s movie. I mean, if you look at even the Santa
go like
Claus,
this.
Yeah.
the Santa Claus, within 5 minutes, you know everything you need to know about
Yeah.
Calvin.
Yeah, and then
Right.
with this with Billy, it's like, he's smarter than he looks.
Scott
He
Calvin.
can deceive people. He's looking for his mom, and he's also going to steal your food.
I think the only thing that I would have wanted, just because of that disconnect with Shazam and Billy, I feel like one more instance of him doing something and being like more of a jovial, like,
Yeah, the closest
Him
we
having
got was
fun
him running
somewhere.
from the bullies
right.
Yeah.
and like
So-
hopping over and getting on a car and in a subway and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So I wish
Like
we would have
maybe they
had
don't
one
catch
more.
him at the house. Maybe he goes off somewhere else, and then he does something fun and
Yeah.
a little mischievous, and then that's where the cops find him.
Yeah, like it's on a skateboard.
Which
and,
would make
like,
sense because they know he put
Yeah.
in the address.
On a
That's how they find
skateboard.
him.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
I
Yeah.
would have
You're
liked
jumping on too.
just as another quick thing.
see.
On the skateboard, yeah.
As much as I love the mother stuff, I would have loved just a little bit more of like a minute after he gets rejected, essentially, and then he decides that the foster home is where he belongs.
Oh yeah,
I would have loved
transition of his
Yeah,
feelings.
because it happens immediately. Like he's
Yeah.
done with her, picks up the phone. Sorry, I made a mistake. Like
I mean, I might.
okay,
Flies out. Yeah.
From an emotional standpoint, I might argue. I mean, I'm not sorry. I'm not argue, but I just mean
How are you?
Counter.
he's already counter. Thank you. He's already starting to I feel like he's already starting to
lose
get
hope
that
for
realization and lose that hope even before that moment, and that just solidifies it. So I don't know if this has ever
Because
happened.
they're
in
the
your
ones
life.
who, without him, got his notebook, looked up the 52
70
yeah,
Batsons.
Yeah,
found the one down
Yeah.
that was mom. Like,
and that was the moment.
I
that
get it
just
though.
went
Like, it would have been,
Like I wouldn't want to see him like lost, moping somewhere, or something happens,
or even a moment.
and then he finds the value.
What if even if she was like, but I can. Even I can't rewrite it right now, but something like, but I can let you in use the phone or whatever you need. And if he just even had that moment of thinking and then went, no, I have to go see my real family. Just that moment, the switch to see
because the dialogue's there, but I just didn't.
You didn't get the moment where
feel it,
the switch flips.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that
okay.
makes sense.
I dig it.
Rate.
Cool.
Anybody?
Now it's on
Anybody?
rating.
Rating.
Shazam says, who wants? So we
Josh
have
and me first.
Yeah, Josh
Yeah.
and Tom, then me, and then
No, alphabetical. Both times you're first.
I have 2 votes, right?
you
You have
and
two.
Caitlin both
I
have
have
two.
two. Corey has one. You're welcome.
Well,
Well,
I would give it a 4.8.
well.
Very good. Very good.
Still some things to change, but still really good.
4.5. I think it's a good family movie, but again, my criteria for superhero films, it's changed. And so like with this, we've never seen a superhero film done as a family film. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's no Dark Knight for me.
4.5. 4.5 for me. I think it was a lot of fun. I think it's, again, I think DC has outdone themselves in what they did with Aquaman and taken another step in the right direction for me. Like, these are the DC movies I've been dying to see. And if they want to pick up The Flash and do one like this, I would lose my goddamn mind. So 4.5, keep it up, Warner Brothers and DC.
Is that me?
Both of you, whoever want to go first. Ladies first, but I guess.
Ladies first.
4.9.
There it is.
I liked it. A couple of things could have changed, but they were very, very small. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
I think I made the right decision.
Did we?
4.9.
Oh,
It's me and Tom.
Wow.
Me and Tom
Really?
at 4.5.
When you're editing this, can you like zoom in to your
To the
fingers?
fingers.
fingers?
Yeah, sparkle fingers.
Well, to be fair, the angle we have, for those of you watching this at home, we're not in the shot. So Tom, go ahead. It's just our hands.
It's just a,
There are
The middle shot.
it's just the tip.
Hands on deck. Real quick, Gush, real quick. I talked this about before on Shazam. In other iterations, it's him at his oldest form and how he would envision himself as an adult. In other stories, it's how he envisions who his dad is.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I have a gush in excitement, and I'm sorry if it.
I have one gush as well.
I'm sorry if it lines
come
in
up
with
with one.
speculation, but
You don't have to.
the introduction
Mind?
of Mr. Mind. But here's the thing: is it's like over the past couple of years, them saying that Shazam is going to happen. There's also been big like
Rock.
Black Adam, The
Rock.
Rock, who's
Teth
already
Adam.
that's already like been like, yeah, that's me, or at least that's
Oh,
what they-
he's in.
Yeah, but I'm
down
so
to clown.
I don't
to
know
do.
who Black Adam is. I don't.
He was the first.
He was the champion.
He was
Yeah.
the champ. He's the fallen champion.
And he got banished. And so, like, Shazam's true, like, I need a successor. It's not because of Savannah. It's because he's like, my power's dying. And if my power dies, then he will come out. And so when he comes out, it's like, hey, oh, Bats, I'm sorry, you got to deal with my first child.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Mr. Mind, is he just like?
He is a worm from another planet who's super smart, has that talk box, and he and Dr. Savannah are the founding members of the evil monster society of men.
So I'm gushing because I just think it's so cool. I'm excited to see the world.
And the
Yeah.
director is the voice of him.
Yeah.
What?
So he's
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
got to voice an evil worm.
Perfect. Nice.
My
Like
gush
that
is
bird
a
in,
little
E.
attention to detail that I loved and was one of the things I laughed harder at in the film. When he is an adult for the first time and he wakes back up on the subway and he hits his head walking on the subway because it's not something he's ever had to deal with
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I love that. And then later on, if you watch when he goes through anything that's a little shorter, he way ducks. Like way is like, I'm gonna duck now so I can get through this door.
Yeah.
So just like that little attention to detail of like, hey,
Yeah.
you would duck at this point. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's few movies that I like sink into my chair and just like get cozy with.
Yeah.
This was one of them.
for sure.
And I have to say, like,
Christmas movie.
I don't want to sound hyperbolic because I can sometimes. I know that.
Do it.
But I
This is
think
the best movie I've ever fucking seen in my entire life.
This is you're not far from it. This is my favorite DC movie since The Dark Knight.
DCEU movie, proper.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. Wonder Woman's pretty close for me.
I
Yeah.
I think I like Wonder Woman more.
Wow.
I don't.
Wow.
You owe me a kiss.
The third act of Wonder Woman still,
It gets you.
I still have an issue with it. But
I'll say this is I think my favorite Christmas movie. Now.
What?
It's a Christmas movie.
Your favorite one?
no, it's still Die Hard for me.
Still the Santa Claus for me. Santa Claus.
This is not the second
Jingle all the
Christmas
way.
movie.
Anyway.
Anyways,
Thanks for watching, guys.
Did you have a gush?
I cracked up a minute
The mole?
ago about no, it's not the fucking mole.
She's
The
a mole.
caterpillar busting out of that teeny thing. Why did that happen? Was it
Because
the
he's an
Seven
evil-
Deadly Sins?
yeah.
But he's
Did
an
they
evil,
break him out?
evil
Because
mastermind.
all I could picture of is him like, ee.
Well, yeah,
to
no,
the
I think
glass.
they know that who he is.
Oh, okay, and they let him out.
let him out.
But also, I think he could have broken
I
out at any
love
time.
that.
But the thing is, Shazam is the one that's keeping him.
There was also a lot of shaking and rumbling that happened when the Seven Deadly Sins came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But
when
also,
they showed
yeah.
it, I was like, "What's
I'm
that?"
just-
mean?
But also,
I'm just
Shazam
gonna pretend
being
that
defeated,
he, like-
probably took that opportunity. To
Also,
be like,
shout out
elbowed
to
his way
Tawny the Talking Tiger, who is also his golden thing that hold up his cape.
yeah. And that's why the
And
tiger
it's
is
also on
awesome.
his backpack, and it's also the tiger.
And
And
if
he
you
gives
want to
her
win
the
at that
tiger.
balloon dart toss, I'm going to give a shout out to my Carney grandpa and my dad who grew up in a carnival. Never throw it straight. Arch it so it falls down on the balloons, and you'll get 2 or 3 at a time. Anyway, fun fact.
Thank you,
Shout out.
Wow.
Go ahead,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jolie.
On that, I feel complete.
I feel complete.
I'm still completing.
Wow.
Wow.
All over it.
Okay.
That's the
Next
new.
time. Wow.
Oh no.
I Shazammed
Well,
in my pants.
Wow.
I'm just
you go.
moving on.
pants.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you are on the YouTubes, if you would like to check us out more, you can check out our website nerdon.tv. We have a newsletter there that you can sign up. We don't inundate your inbox. There's one a month,
Just one.
and it's a breakdown of what we're doing, including updates with the company, updates with all the content that we released in that.
It's
in that
fun,
month.
guys.
Yeah, it's
Speaking
fun.
of updates,
We have a new show.
New show coming at you. It is called the Nerd On Update, and guess what? It has questions. It has a section that is devoted to questions.
You.
We don't
From
have
you.
questions. We answer your questions.
you're part of the
You
show.
can-
All the nerd stuff that you care about, we answer here on the show.
Even which foot is your favorite? It's my
Yeah.
left.
That's my right.
What do we think about the
I
Joker
like
movie, all the
disagree.
speculation, all the stuff we don't
Yeah.
talk about in
Yeah.
normal episodes?
We'll answer your questions.
questions.
Send them into where?
It'll be a weekly show, and you can submit those questions to questions@nerdon.tv. We also have another podcast called Trope Time, hosted by our friends Izzy and Nikki. Monthly podcast, first Monday of every month. Check it out. But yeah, again, thank you so much for listening. If you would like to continue to support us even further, please rate and review. Share it with your friends, your families,
Smash
your,
that like
your
button.
enemies.
It's if you love it, share it with your friends and family. If you hate it, share it with your enemies.
Yeah. But on that, you know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
I almost said Shazam.
Ending broadcast.